let's get started. So today's class is going to be all about Safari and using Safari on the Mac. Okay. Next week we'll use we'll cover Safari again, but it'll be Safari on the iPhone and iPad. So if you're wondering why I'm only talking about the Mac, well, it's because we got two classes. Okay, so I'll just take a minute to tell you a little bit about me, why I'm giving this class and not somebody else, because this is what I do. All I do for the last 30 years is teach people how to use their Macs better, how to get more done with their hardware and with the software they already have. So I also help people use their iPhones better. And I do this in person, I do it remotely, and I do it on my website, christianboyce.com, where there are several hundred Mac and iPhone how-to articles, so you can help yourself over there. Okay, and remember the link that you got for today's meeting gets you into the other meetings this month. Okay, now I am sharing my Mac's screen, and I'm using a 13-inch MacBook Pro, and the odds are pretty good that your screen is bigger than mine, which is great. So when I'm sharing the screen, you will see across the top, it'll say you're sharing Christian Boyce's screen, and to the right of that, it'll say View Options, and you can choose to expand my screen to fill your screen so you can see things even larger, or at least you can do 100%. Okay, and I'm also going to make the cursor bigger, because if you see the cursor I have right now, it's pretty small. Make this bigger, and this is a little bonus tip that you get to learn how to do right now. All right, so I'm gonna make the cursor bigger, and you can see how this works if I can find my cursor. Okay, so small I can't see it either. Here it comes. All right. So to make the cursor bigger, we'll just go into System Preferences. We will go to Accessibility, and we will go to Displays, and we will make the cursor bigger. That should be big enough for you to see. Okay, that's great. Okay, so let's get started. You don't need to take a lot of notes, because as was mentioned, the meeting is being recorded and you can go watch it again. So that's that. So just sit back and enjoy. So I want to talk about how we're going to approach this. You can't really go A to Z when you're learning how to use a program like Safari, because there's really no beginning and no ending. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of start in the middle with a little spot of knowledge, and then we're going to build out layer until in the end we've got a whole bunch of connected things that give us this big basketball of knowledge. So what I want to start with is something that we all do. One of the first things we do with Safari or with any web browser is we do a Google search. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to start up Safari. This is a very plain Safari here, because I've stripped out all of the customization that I might have done ordinarily. Okay. So here's what we usually do. And I'm going to make this, I'm going to have to move my screen a little bit, because I think you can see that I'm kind of a host of the meeting too. So the waiting room stuff is on top. So what normally we do, and I'm going to do some things wrong so that you can then see later that there's a better way. So what we usually do if we want to do a Google search, the normal person goes up here to the so-called smart search bar, and they type in google.com. Then they go there. Then they type in what they're looking for down here. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna search for Apple Mac news articles. This is kind of stuff I want to read about. And this worked. Okay, this worked. And here's a nice ad at the top, but underneath that, here are a whole bunch of articles and websites with Mac news. Well, and what we do, the other thing we do wrong, besides doing what I just did, that's not the best way to do a Google search. And I'll show you in a minute. The next thing we do is we just start clicking on on links, and the link loads and we read a little bit, and then we go back and then we read a little bit about some other one, we click another one. All this back and forth is it's a big time waster. Okay, it slows you down and you don't need to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it a different way. So I'm going to start over. I'm going to do the search again, but this time I'm going to make use of the fact that this is actually not just a URL address box, but it's a smart search box. So if I do my search right here, if I put in Apple Mac News and I hit return, I'm actually doing my search right there. And you can see, in this case, it's a DuckDuckGo search because I forgot to change my preferences. All right, so in the preferences, you get to specify who your search is going to be with. I'm going to do it again with Google here. So if I do Apple Mac News, I hit return. It's still a Google search. It's just as good a Google search as if you went to google.com first and then performed your search there. But this saves you a step. So now the next thing to do, and I guess you saw that there's the option to search with different search engines, but whichever engine you've picked, just type it up here in this box and hit return. Don't bother going to a website first. It just saves you one step. All right, now once you do a search, the best thing to do next is to hold down the command key, and I'm gonna hopefully I can show you my command key here. So when I hold down the command key and I click on one of these websites, what I get as I do this, you see what's happening is it's adding tabs here. So every click I made a tab, and that means that now I can kind of scan through this really quickly and find stuff that looks interesting to me, and hold down the command key again and click again. And I've got now 5 websites here, and I haven't even closed this page yet. So what do I do with these tabs? Well, now I can click on each tab and I can read what's in them, and it's much more efficient this way. Okay, so you've got all these tabs all in one place, and I can move the window around. Of course, all the tabs move with it. Okay, well, what are we going to do now that we've got these tabs? Well, sometimes you forget about all the tabs that are open. Now, some people might have 100 tabs open. You can see what each tab is if you point to them and you wait a little while, you get a little preview. So that's helpful. And you can click this button over here on the far right, and you can see all the tabs you have open right there. Okay, and I can pick one of these to open up, but they're still in tabs. So that's a really handy thing to be able to do, to have these things all grouped like this. But it'd be even handier if we could maybe make some bookmarks of them. And I'm gonna make some bookmarks, but first I'm gonna make another mistake. Suppose you're working like this and you want to close this Mac Rumors page, that you're done with it, and you go like this. Whoops, I closed everything. Oh no. And so this happens a lot, but we have a way to rescue ourselves. We can open up the last closed window here. And this would work even if I quit. Even if I quit, I could do that, but I'm gonna just reopen the last closed window, and all the things that I had open are still open. So that's a real relief, because I've done it a lot of times. But I could even quit. So here I'm gonna quit, and I'm gonna do quit like this so you can see what I'm doing, but normally it'd be a Command Q. And if you quit, and you come back to Safari, come back to my history menu again, I can reopen all the windows from the last session. So that's really handy too. Now, sometimes what happens is you've hit this yellow button here to minimize, and you don't realize, you forget that you actually had those windows open because they're down here in the dock. And so then when you quit, you lose those. Well, come back to Safari and you wonder where your pages are. You got it under history, reopen all windows from last session. And in this case, they'll reopen minimized just like you left them. But if I open up like this, we see them all again. So do not fret if you accidentally close your windows. You will be okay. We can get our stuff back. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'll make some bookmarks here. Okay. So let's say we really like this Mac Rumors website and I want to make a bookmark. There's all kinds of ways to make bookmarks. And this is probably the best way here, because this button here, this is the share button. This is the button you would use right here to add a bookmark. And when I do, it makes a bookmark, gives me a chance to tell where it's going to go. I like where it's going to go, the favorites. And I do have a chance to name it. We're not going to name it this time. That's a mistake too. But you can see what happens here is it puts a bookmark here in the favorites bar, which I hope you can see. This is the favorites bar here. If the favorites bar isn't showing, it's because it's hidden. And so what you want to do is say show the favorites bar right up here under view. Okay, so we made a bookmark. That was easy. And the other reason I want to show you that the share button is so nice is when you hit share, you can also email the page to somebody. So if there was an article that you want to send to somebody and you use this, it will start up your mail program and it will include the link, and then you can write your message and address it. So it saves you some trouble. All right, so that's one way to add a bookmark. Another way to add a bookmark, let's say we go to the 9to5 Mac site and we like this one too. I go here to bookmarks and I can add a bookmark. And it does exactly the same box, but I think the other one's a little more obvious. I like to do that. Now this is a really long title. And as you can see, we're running out of room in the favorites bar over here at the top. So we're going to rename this. I'm just going to call it 9to5 Mac like this. Doesn't matter what you call it, but when you do it like this, it takes up a lot less room in the bar. So I've got this one that's too long, this one that's nice and short, and I can rearrange these too. I can just drag them like this. Okay, so let's fix this up here. I can do a bunch of things with these bookmarks. I'm going to control click on it, holding down the control key and clicking. I'm going to rename it because I can see it takes too much room. I'm just going to call it Mac Rumors. Okay, so I just renamed it. And so I can go back there if I want to, and I can go back like this, 9to5 Mac's a bookmark now. Okay, well, all right, that's nice. But you know, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs open here. And this might be reading that I want to do as a group maybe every day. I want to open up these Mac websites and you know, flip through and see what they've got. And I don't want to have to click 5 bookmarks to do it. Well, what we can do in the bookmarks menu is we can add bookmarks for these tabs. Now it actually tells you how many tabs you have open. And I just said 5, but it's saying 6 because one of the tabs was my original search here, my Google search. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. And I'll show you how we recover from that. So let's add a bookmark for these 6 tabs. I can call this anything I want. Again, I'm just going to call this Mac News, because that's what it was. So remember, keep the names short so you can fit more stuff in the bookmarks favorite bar. If things go too far, they fall off the edge here, and then when you don't see them anymore, you forget they're even there. So now let's start over. Let's close up, and now I'm going to open up Safari, and I've got my Mac News bookmark here. And when I click it, I get all 6 pages back. Okay, all 6 tabs. So, you know, you do a little bit of work up front, and you've got this really quick way to fix things. Now, I don't want this search to show up again. I don't need that. I already did the search. So how do we fix that? Well, what we do is we use here, this button up here shows us the sidebar. When you show the sidebar, there's two things it might show. One is the bookmarks, which is what I want, and one is the reading list, which is what I don't want. We're not even going to talk about that today. Can't talk about everything. So I'm going to come here to our Mac News down here at the bottom, and I'm going to flip this open, and I can see what's in it. And this is no surprise. These are the things that we added, but I'm going to remove this one. And again, it's the control click. So I'm holding down the control key, clicking, and deleting. Okay. And now I don't need these two anymore because I've got them here. So I'm going to delete these as well. Goodbye to 9 to 5 Mac, control click, delete it, and Mac Rumors, control click, delete. And if I wanted to drag things around here, I already showed you could grab it over here and move it. I can also move it from here. Sometimes this is easier for people. So now I will hide this, and now I will close this, and I'll even quit Safari altogether. And when we start Safari and we click our Mac News button, I get all my tabs back now without the Google search, which is what I wanted. I'm going to do one more thing with that bookmark. Let's make a new window. I can make a new window either this way under File, New Window, or I can come down here and just click Safari again, and I get another window. If we know what happens if I click this, and you notice it's got this little square dot there, which shows us that this is something different than a regular bookmark. This is a group bookmark. If I click and I hold it, I get a menu. So now I can simply say, let's just go to see Apple Insider. So instead of opening up all 5 with a click, I open up one of them by clicking and holding and sliding down. So this is terrific. Great way to organize your bookmarks. And now you've got the best of both ways. You can either open them all or open one. Okay, that takes care of that part of this. Favorites bar. Is there a question?
I think we have a question. James
Excellent.
Corsica. James Corsica, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, Christian, can you bookmark just some of the tabs that are open into one?
Not that I know of. I think you'd have to get a window with just those tabs open.
Okay.
Or we go through and clean it up like I did after the fact. Okay, now I want to show you, good question though. I showed you how to use the control click to do a few things. Control clicking is awesome. There's control click. When you hold the control key down and you click on things, the menu that you get, the options that you get, have to do with what you clicked on. So the menu knows the context where the click occurred. So let's do some more control clicking. One thing I like to do is when I'm reading these articles, you can see, like here, I'll read this article, and it's a little too small. The text is too small. I want the text to be bigger. If only I had buttons up here that would make the text bigger. That's what I need. So I'm going to control click. Okay, I'm holding control again. I'm going to click in the toolbar. So the toolbar is the part up here at the top. It's got our smart search bar in the middle, but I'm going to hold down the control key and click where there's no button. I'm going to choose customize toolbar. So if you just click, you don't get anything, but if you hold down the control and click, you get customized toolbar. So let's customize it. And you get all these nice options, and one of them here is zoom. So I'm just going to grab these and park these buttons where I want them. And I think I'll use another button here, this one that says autofill. This can be handy too when you go to a website and you need to fill in a form. This will read from your own contact in your address book, in your contacts app, and it'll fill in the form. So that's nice to have. And that'll be enough for me for now. So if I messed this up, if I didn't like it, I could always grab this standard toolbar, the one that's down here at the bottom. I could pull that back up too. But now I've got a nice button. So let's say if I'm going to read this article here, I can click this button and you see the text gets bigger. And if I need to get smaller, the text gets smaller. Okay, so it's nice to know how to customize the toolbar. Everybody's going to have a different way of doing it. But when you are customizing the toolbar, you can put the buttons anywhere you want. So in fact, if you hold the command key down, here's the command key. If you hold down the command key, you can actually move things around right here on the bar. Okay, now,
Christian, I have
yes.
a quick question for you from Peggy. Peggy,
Peggy.
can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Is there a command to make the favorites list alphabetized automatically?
You know, there is, and I forgot how to do it. I've done it once. I did it once.
Well, keep going. We'll research it and get it back to you, Christian.
I know, I could give you the feedback.
Go ahead.
All you need to do is go into the bookmarks menu up at the top, and then edit, and then in favorites, control click, and it
There it
says
is.
sort by name.
There it is.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Frank.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to turn the rest of the meeting over to Frank. All right. So now you can see what we've done here. We did a search. We ended up talking about tabs. Well, I'm going to do one more thing with tabs. I'm going to go to the Naples Mug site here, and there it is. Let's say you want to do more than just make a bookmark. Maybe you want this to always be hanging around so it's got easy access. What you do is you grab, here I've got a window with one tab. I can grab the tab and I can pull it way over here to the left. You see that? It turns into just the icon. And now, if I do this, if I open up our Mac News, the Naples Mug one is still hanging out over here, and I can just click that and bring it forward. So that's called a pinned tab. So if there are things that you do a lot, like maybe you put a banking site up here, but see, I could pin any of these. If I wanted to take the Mac Rumors site and pin it, I just keep dragging it over to the left until it squishes down to just the icon. So now I have that. If I want to unpin it, I can hold down the control key and I can say unpin. So once again, it's a control key to the rescue. But the pinning a tab is nice. So you might have, 2 or 3 or 4 websites that you go to all the time, and it's even more obvious that they're ready for you because it's a little bigger target. It's just more fun to click the big thing. If I quit Safari and I come back, you'll see that every new page I make still has my pinned tab. Okay, so it's still there, just a click away. So that can be extremely handy. Okay, so now we're going to, I want to go back to our searching. When we did our search up here in the Smart Search bar, we got whatever search engine was set in the preferences. So you should just know that if you want to do something other than Google, under Safari, in the search section here, you have a whole bunch of search engines. And by default, it's Google. And it's Google by default because Apple gets paid by Google to do it. But it's still a good search engine. DuckDuckGo is real good too. So that's strictly up to you. Everything's going to work the same. It's just you're going to use a different search engine. Okay, so now let's talk about what happens when we open up a new page in Safari. This is what we get typically when we open up a new page in Safari. This is Safari 14 point something or other. I can see up here, I'm using the latest operating system, Big Sur, but this is also the Safari that you'd get in Catalina too. So if you're using that, that's fine. So this is what you get though. This is the default start page. And you can customize it. Down here, there's these little slider things. They're not sliders, they're a button. When you click on it, you can see the different things you might want to include in here. But, you know, this turns out not to be that handy a page for me. So what I do is I find some other page that I like, that I know I'm going to go to, and I make that my start page. So the page that I like is news.google.com, and you can see they've already finished typing it for me. I'll just hit return. And this is a good page because it has news from a bunch of different sources. So I get a lot of different perspectives on every story. And it's updated constantly. You can see it's from all different places. Here's stuff from the New York Times. Here's stuff from Fox News. Here's stuff from CBS News, stuff from The Guardian, Yahoo News, and so on. So you really get a more rounded picture of what's happening. Well, if I want to make this my start page, I come here to Safari, and this is another one of those times where I'm going to make a mistake, and you're all going to laugh, except I'm doing it on purpose. So, because I think this is the kind of mistake people are going to make on their own. In the general section, we have this great opportunity here. It says homepage, and right now it's an Apple page. So I'm going to say set to current page. And so when I click that button, it puts in all the stuff that it puts in the URL of the page I'm on, and this looks great. So now let's close this up. Let's make a new page. And what happens? Exactly what happened before. Okay. Why did this happen? Well, because you have to do this kind of two-stepper, this Texas two-step that Safari makes you go through. Here it says Safari opens with a new window. Well, that makes sense. I don't want Safari to open up every window from last session or even the private windows. I don't want to do that. I want it to open a new window, but what do new windows open with? The start page. No, I want them to open with a home page, which I just set. So now if I open up Safari, I get my page. Okay, so I'm straight into the news. I don't need it to be Google. That's not a great page because I know I've got a Google search right here anyway, up here in the smart search bar. Now, speaking of the smart search bar, I'm going to teach you a keyboard shortcut. Great keyboard shortcut. One of the real time wasters for us is moving the cursor around and clicking in the search box up there. Well, I'm just going to do Command L. So here's the Command key. You know that one right next to the space bar. Command L, and it jumps right up there. And I think L is for location. But anyway, it hops right up there and it's highlighted the text. So now I can type anything I want. So if I wanted to go to another web page, like, I don't know, let's see if this Christian Boyce guy's got a website. See if he can type there. So that means that you can just hop up there in a second with a Command L, and I can go, to apple.com, and there I am. So it's really quick. Command L, Command L, Command L. You do that a couple of times, and you'll never go back to going up here and clicking. Okay, so we made the mistake on purpose. Now, you know what else might be kind of nice? Might be kind of nice if I had a way to get back to my home page in a one click. Well, there's no home page button on the toolbar, but there is a control key to hold down. If I hold it down and do customize toolbar, find my home. I know there's a home button here somewhere. I just got to find it. Here's a house. That's a home. So I'll park this up here. So now, no matter where I am, I can click this little house, take me back to my home page, the home page that I made. So very handy. And of course, this stuff is available in the menus, but it's so much nicer to do it with a button because it's more front and center when you see it that way. Okay. So speaking of smart searches and the smart search bar and Command L and all that stuff, let's find out why that's so smart. Now, it used to be, once upon a time, all this bar up here was good for, the one that I get with Command L, all that was good for was typing in the exact URL of a web page, and then you hit return. Now it does a Google search, as we've seen. We can see that, but we're also going to see that it's even smarter than that. So while I'm up here, I'm going to look, let's say I want to know what the weather is. And so I'm going to start typing in Los Angeles. I'm going to type a W for weather. They've already guessed that I want the weather for Los Angeles. I didn't even finish typing. You see the light blue shows that they were guessing I wanted weather. I didn't have to type that, and I didn't have to go to a web page either. I could say, I can see it's 68 degrees, high of 84, low of 64, partly cloudy. And I could just look out the window right over here. That would work too. But that's not a very good example to look out the window. So let's do another one. Suppose we want to know how the San Francisco Giants are doing today. So I can start typing San Francisco. And they've already guessed, and they're showing me that they're playing at 12:10 today. If the game was already underway, they would show me the score. And see, I didn't even finish typing. Now, if I didn't want San Francisco Giants, if what I wanted was 49ers, I could keep typing, and now they show me their schedule. And if that's not the right thing, I could have typed a W. They would have shown me the weather. So this smart search really is smart. Let's do something else. I'm going to I'll do Command L again. Suppose you want to know how your Tesla stock is doing today. I can just type the symbol, and there it is again, live Tesla stock. Okay. If you want to know how Apple's doing, we'll just do that too. And now you see they think I'm going to go to the Apple Insider. I'll just hit the space to finish it off. And there's Apple stock. Okay. So really smart. I'll do one more thing that's smart. Suppose you are trying to see how your flight's doing. Maybe you've got a friend coming in, and you want to track their flight. Well, so if it's a Southwest flight, you could do it like this. You can say Southwest, and I'll just let's see. This is a flight that I know it's coming. So if you want to know if someone's flying from Austin to Denver, you can see that they are. They've arrived. Oh, they're early. Okay, so you better get to the airport if you're in Denver. Go pick up your friend. So if you actually know that Southwest puts WN in front of all of their flight numbers, then you can put in you can put that whole thing in. You don't have to type Southwest. And here's the one from Texas back to here. So I can see the one that it's coming. All right, they're en route here. They're early. They're going to land at Terminal 1, Gate 14. And there you go. They've departed and they're on their way. So that's the smart search bar, and it really is smart. And if it isn't something like that, maybe it's something like this. Suppose you want you just want to know where the capital of Venezuela is. If you got to spell it, of course, and already they know Caracas. So, boy, is it smart! It's really smart. Okay, so now there's one other thing that we do when we're searching. Actually, there's two more things we do when we're searching. One I want to do real quick here is I want to search on this page and see if there's anything about the earthquake in Mexico. So I can just do Command F to search this page. And you see up here, there's a box for me to type. And I'll just put in earthquake. And indeed, they found this on the page, which is great. It saves me the time of scrolling around to find it. Now I can go read about this earthquake. So Command F is searching on a web page for certain words. And this can be super handy too, especially if it's a long article. All right, now what else do we do what else do we search for? Well, we search for passwords. So, you know, when you go to a website and you sign up for something and Safari asks you to save the password, you should say yes. So I'm gonna say yes here. I'm gonna go to Ryobi Tools. I know that they will let you sign up to get newsletters and stuff. And so these guys will send me news about their products and their batteries and such. So let's do that. So when I go to sign in here, I'm in a box, and I'm going to say I don't have an account yet. So now I'm going to put one in. I'm going to make one up here. This is one of my email addresses. Okay, and I know my name here. I should use my little fill in button, but it doesn't, this Mac doesn't know my name yet because I basically, this is a brand new stripped down Mac just for the class. Okay, so but ordinarily that's what you would do. You click this button here and it would just pour right in. Okay, password. Well, they'll make a password for me. If I click here, this is Apple suggesting a password. You can't even see it. You can see the beginning of it. But Apple's made this big long password. Now, I don't need to know what it is because they're going to remember it for me, and it's going to show up when I need it to. But I'm going to show you how you can find out what it is anyway. So here I've signed up. Oh boy, let's tell them about their traffic lights here. Okay, now we're done. Okay, so I created this account. Now, if I click up here, now they want me to sign in right away. All I've got to do is click here. That fills in, and so does this bottom part. And now if I go to sign in, I'm signed in. Well, that's all really great. But let's say we're going to quit here, and I'm going to come back to Safari, and I'm going to say, gee, I wonder what that password was. Well, we can find that password. Now, where the password really is in the keychain. The keychain gets unlocked when you log into your machine. So when you first turn your machine on, if you have to click your name and then underneath it, there's a box and you type in, that's you putting in your administrative password. And the administrative password unlocks all the other passwords. The keychain is not really a great name. The way I think of it more like a safe. Like if you had all your passwords written down on a piece of paper in a safe, but then you had a master key, that would be like your admin password. Once you get into the safe, you see all the passwords. Well, that's kind of what happens when you start up your Mac and you type in your master admin password. But how do we get to that keychain easily? Well, we do it here in the preferences. I go to the preferences. Now I look here, there's a password section. So let's click on passwords. Now they won't let just anybody get in here. So this is a security thing. You need to have this. Otherwise, people who had access to your computer would be able to see all your passwords. So you have to know your admin password. And so you supply that here. And now we see that Safari has remembered via the keychain my Ryobi Tools username and password. Just by clicking on it, it shows there. Okay. So this is super handy. So when you forget your passwords and you wonder, what are they? You're going to have a whole list of them here, and you can go up here and search, so you narrow things down. I think you'll be surprised at how many things are in here. Very, very, very handy stuff. And I'll be changing this password because I don't want you all sending me power tools in the mail now that you see what my password is. All right. Actually, we didn't put any credit card information in there, so I don't mind. Okay, is there a question, Cheetah?
I got a quick question for you.
Awesome.
There have been times when I have not allowed Safari to save a password. Is it possible to go back and then force Safari to save that password in the keychain?
Yeah, because when you get the box that says, do you want to save this password? Mm-hmm. You only get that box if you put in your own password. If they make up the password, of course, they'll remember it. But if you can say not now, or you could say never. If you say never, that's kind of the end of that. But if I think we can go in here. Let me see if I can. I'm not sure. Ooh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to defer to Frank.
Okay. All right. We'll save that for the next time you're here.
Okay. Now
you have the material. Go ahead.
So this is pretty much what I wanted to show you on the first part of our talk. Our next part is about not so much getting around and finding stuff, but actually working with pages and making them easier to read. Now we've already done things like this. I've clicked I've clicked on an article, and we've used these bigger buttons over here to make things bigger. I'll wait for this article. Here it is. And I can make the text bigger, and that's nice. But you know, it's not as nice as it could be. Let's put it that way. And the way I really like it, the best thing you can do is you can use this thing called the reader mode. So reader mode is for people who like to read, who don't like to be distracted with all this nonsense on the side, all of these ads and click here and you might be interested in all that nonsense. Goldman Sachs asking me to buy this stock. Okay, reader mode looks like this. All you got to do, you see when I look up here in the smart search bar, I see this little piece of paper, tiny. But if I click on it, it says that it's going to show the reader view. Watch over there in the smart search bar, show reader view. When I do it, what I get is this unbelievably clean, readable article. Oh my gosh, this is the way I like to read. This is great. This is for people who like to read. If you like to be distracted with ads and things, then don't do this. But this is great. Now, when you're in the reader mode, there's certain things you can't do. Like you don't see the options across the top to navigate to other articles. You're just looking at this one article. So you got to know how to get out of it, and that's you click this button again. But boy, is it nicer the way I was showing it. So you could also go to the view menu and show reader this way. The way I do it is with the shortcut. The shortcut is Command Shift R. So if I hold down the Command and the Shift and the R, which is right here, showing you the shortcut, you get reader mode. So I do Command Shift R, and I'm in the reader mode. If I want to get out of it, Command Shift R again. Okay, piece of cake. So what else can we do when we're in reader mode? Well, you can actually change the way it looks. And the way you do that is there's these two tiny little A's at the end of the smart search bar. You don't see these A's until you're in the reader mode. But when you click it, you get options. So I'm going to make the background a little bit darker. You can make it quite a bit darker if you want, but I'm going to make it like this. And I'm going to make the font be a serif font because I think it's easier to read. So I'll pick Palatino, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So now I've got something that I can really read. This I can sink my eyes into, so to speak. So that really makes things so much nicer. So much nicer. Now, what if every time I came to CNBC, I could somehow make it always go to reader mode? That would be nice. So let's get out of reader mode for a minute. And let's go back to the page we were on here. I think, no, we'll leave it right here. So you have options for a website. Now, these are not settings for this particular web page. These are settings for this website. So anything that's on cnbc.com, I'm about to affect. So I can go here, and this is so important. I'm going to show it to you twice. Okay, you really need to know about this menu item. Almost nobody uses this, and you really should. So settings for this website, I can say 3 times. I'll do it. I'm going to say use the reader mode when it's available. So what does that mean when available? Well, it means that when they can figure out what the article on the page is, they'll use reader mode. If they can't tell because there's multiple articles on the page, then they won't use reader mode. Enabling content blockers means that if we had an ad blocker, they would make it work. And page zoom, I can say, every time I come to this page, I want it to be just a little bit bigger, like 125%. These are important too. I don't want any videos to pop up and start playing automatically. Those are annoying. I don't want to autoplay them. So I'll say never autoplay. I want to click to play. Okay, so now what happens? Well, let's go up to our smart search bar. I'm going to go to CNBC, go to their home page. So when we go to their home page, of course, this page does not lend itself to reader mode because there are a whole bunch of articles here. They wouldn't know what to do. But if I click on an article, because of the setting I just made, it automatically went to reader mode. Okay, so I didn't do that. I'm gonna have to show you with my hands up in the air here. Let's go to another article. All right, here we go. So my hands are up. I'm going to that article. They recognize that it's an article and it's in reader mode and it's big and it's got the style that I like. So, boy, that's nice. So remember about reader mode, okay? I think you're gonna use it all the time. I certainly do. Okay, now speaking of reader mode, I'm gonna open up one more article. Like this is one where I've kind of got it rigged here. This is called a web loc. Okay, it's a web location document. I'm going to show you how I got it, and I'm going to show you what it does too. But let's open up Safari again. Suppose there's some page that I really like maybe I'll go to, I don't know, let's say christianboyce.com. This guy. If I click in the address here like this, and then I click on this little icon, this is called a favicon. If I grab this thing and I drag it out and park it on the desktop, that becomes a shortcut that I can use anytime I want to start Safari and go to that page. I just double click it, it takes me right there. So this is another way to kind of bookmark things. And I bookmarked this one. I wanted to be able to get to this in a hurry. This was an article about the World Cup qualifying that the United States is busily not doing very well. So I'm going to put this in reader mode, and I'm going to do that with my Command-Shift-R, right? We know how to do that. And you can see what a mess this is. There's all kinds of ads and junk. I can't even see the article because there's so much stuff. So I'll do my Command-Shift-R, go straight to reader mode. Now I can read this thing. So now, how do we read it? Well, you know, if you have a trackpad, you can use 2 fingers to scroll, and that's fine. You can also, if you have an Apple Magic Mouse, you can use 2 fingers on the top of that to scroll. You could use scroll bars if Apple had the courtesy to show them to you in this system. They only show them to you when you're already moving, which is when you don't need them. So you can see that tiny little scroll bar sort of near my cursor here. You can see it. I like my scroll bars to show all the time, so I'm going to show you how I do that. Just go to System Preferences, and then in the General section, turn on Always. I want the scroll bars all the time. They're really useful. And if you happen to be my mother, I already did this for you, so you don't have to do this. Okay, any Mac that I set up, that's what I do. I always set up scroll bars always showing. So now I can grab the scroll bar if I wanted to, and I could scroll this way. But that's tricky because it relies on some precision grabbing and dragging. And the scroll bars aren't very big. So there's a couple ways you can scroll much more easily. First of all, you can use the arrow key, the down arrow, to go down a little bit. And this is just a line at a time. And that's probably rather inefficient. And of course, up to go back up. The really good way is to use a space bar. So if I hit the space bar, it scrolls down a screen at a time. So you can see here, let's look at what's the last line here. Right now it says, what's that? Okay, so this is what's at the bottom here. So when I hit the space bar, that becomes what's at the top. It never goes past. It always scrolls just the exact amount. So space bar, space bar, space bar. This is how I read stuff, is I just keep hitting the space bar. If I want to go back up, add the shift key and then the space bar, and back up you go. So this is the way to do it. This is the fast and easy way. Okay, now let's see. I want to do one more thing. Let's actually want to do a couple more things. We're close to being done, but not quite. Let's say you've got this article up here on your screen, and you want to not read it, but have it be read to you? Well, you can either have it read the whole thing to you out loud, or you can just select part of it, and then you can tell Safari to speak. And so I'm going to see if, I hope you can hear it. We'll see. Here it comes.
A lot of people are calling for Berhalter's job for this result, citing Klansman's sacking after the first 2 games of the previous World Cup qualifying cycle. After all,
Okay, I
under
can
both
stop it
managers,
here.
the national team dropped.
So I hope you could hear it. Sheeta, could you hear it?
Yes.
Yes, good. Okay. So if you have a longish article like this and you want to know what's in it, but you don't want to read it, you can just tell Safari to speak it. If you don't select anything, it just starts at the beginning. If you want to skip some things, you can just select the parts you want to speak. So that's kind of fun. Now, this is fine. This works out really well, except that you are back and forth in and out of reader mode a lot. And if I went to, let's go back to CNBC. When I'm here, there's share of ads here too, and it's distracting. Okay, it's just there's I don't need to know about this stuff. I don't need to know about all these things that they're ready to sell me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an ad blocker. So there are a lot of ad blockers out there, and the one I like is called Wiper. So the Wiper's, I think Wiper's the best one. If you have another one, then you're happy, that's fine, but I think you should give Wiper a try. So Wiper's what you call a Safari extension. Now there are a lot of extensions. What they do is they extend the abilities of Safari. So Apple kind of opens the door for developers to hook onto Safari and do extra things. So there are a whole bunch of these things, but the one I like is the ad blocker called Wiper. And the way you get to search for extensions is you're actually going to the App Store. So when I went down here to Safari and I went to Safari extensions, it really just opens up the App Store. It takes me to a special place on the App Store where it says Safari extensions. Now I know what I'm looking for. I'm just going to put in Wiper. Wiper is spelled like this, W-I-P-R. And you hit return here, and now I'm going to see Wiper. And because I've downloaded this before, actually I paid for it before. It's actually free, but you can add a tip. Okay, so it's a great service for free, but tip the guy. So I'm going to click my little cloud icon. You're gonna probably click the word get. But when we get it, we will get a chance now to open it. So I'll hit open right there. And here comes Wiper. So I'm done with the App Store. I put that away. So automatic refresh, I think that's a great idea. We want Wiper to always be as up to date as it can be, so it knows how to stop ads. So yeah, we'll refresh all the time. Now they're going to tell me how to do it. What do we do? What we do is go to Safari and then go to preferences, go to extensions, and then turn these things on. Okay, so here we go. Safari, preferences, extensions. And why is it 3 parts? Well, that's really interesting. So this is why I've been stopped here because of my I've got a program running that is showing you the keys that I'm pressing. Now I've turned that off, and now this should work. Let's see here. Let me see. I do this. I do this. Be nice if this worked. I can't turn it on. All right, well, let me see. It could be because I'm screen sharing that I can't turn it on. I'm going to temporarily stop sharing my screen, and then I'm going to turn on Wiper, and then we'll come right back. All right, so I'll be right back. Hope this doesn't break the whole presentation. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Yes, indeed, it did work. Okay, great. Share screen, share screen. Where's my Zoom? Okay, I'm back. And indeed, it was that because I'm sharing my screen, because Zoom is watching what I click, Apple jumped in and said I couldn't do this. But anyway, I've turned them on now. That's not going to happen to you, so you can ignore it. So what do we get with an ad blocker turned on? Well, and it's done here. So this will be, once this is done, it's done. You don't have to look at this again. Little thinking here. Okay, great, it's done. And I'm gonna tell them I've done it. And so now let's look, I'm gonna go to a web page that has a lot of ads. Let's go to NewYorkTimes.com. You're gonna see it now, you're gonna see it in the clean way without the ads. If I want to show you what it looked like without the ads, there's a couple ways we can do this. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna go here to settings for this website. You see content blockers are on. It means that Wiper is going to work. If I turn it off for this website, the page reloads and right away you see a big gray box where there's going to be an ad. Here it comes. And we'll see more ads as we go. But this is an ad that can't even, there you are, a big ad from Google. I don't need the ads. The problem with, there's multiple problems with the ads. Here's another one. One of the problems is, besides the visual clutter, it takes longer to load the page because you're loading more stuff. So I'm going to tell Safari that no, when I come to this website, I want content blockers on. Now that's the default. By default, it's going to show you the content blockers. But every so often, you are going to go to a website that's going to put up a message saying, "I see you're using a content blocker." And if they do that, and they say, "Well, you can't come in unless you turn that off." Now you know how to turn it off. For this site only, you wouldn't turn off Wiper altogether, but you'd say, "For this site, I won't do it." Okay. And while we're in here, I just can't resist making the page bigger because it's just too small. You know, when I come to this website, I want the text to be bigger. So I'm going to reload this page. And now you see it's just bigger. Everything's bigger. Okay, so we know how to turn on Wiper. We know how to turn it off per website. We know how to make the text bigger. And I'm going to go to one more. Yeah, I'm gonna do one more website with Reader, and you'll see how great this is. So if I go to LATimes.com, there. All right. Well, if I go to read one of their articles, what happens? I'm just gonna double check here that settings for this website are the way they are. Right. If I see, I don't have the blocker on. That's why I got this here. I'm going to tell it that for this website, enable the content blockers. But what happens is, if I go to one of these articles, right away, I'm going to get interrupted here. I've got the subscribe now thing down here. And I think and right away here, I've got this. I'm not interested in this either. And if I see 3 or 4 articles in a month, all of a sudden they want me to subscribe. Well, this is sort of unofficial. You didn't hear it from me, but supposing I said here to always use the reader view when it's available. Now, all of a sudden, if I go back to the original LA Times page, this is where it started. I go pick an article, it's going to jump right into reader view, and it's going to skip that pledge drive message that was asking me to subscribe. So that's pretty cool. Now I'm going to do one more thing. This is actually my last thing. We're winding it up, but let's say we want to get out of reader mode here. And actually, I'm going to have to go to a web page I can actually read. Okay, so here's a web page, and I want to translate this into another language. Now, in this case, it's already English, and I'm going to translate it to something else. But sometimes you're on a web page that's in French, and you want to turn it into English. You can do this stuff. So here's what you do: you go to the View menu, and you go to Translation. Now, you're not going to see any of these things because, well, I'm just going to go straight to Spanish anyway. Here it goes. So if anyone can read this, that would be great. I'm going to actually select it, and I can speak it, and we'll see how the Mac can do speaking Spanish.
Inverted question mark KSSO. Inverted question mark. Donde está el lo que aprendemos?
Wow, bad
Bueno,
Spanish.
subió al día siguiente.
Wow, that's back to remedial Spanish. But the point is, I turned it into Spanish. You can also, if I wanted to, in Eckert's honor, I'm going to go here back to English. You can't switch from one foreign language to another foreign language, but you can switch to another foreign language. If you don't have any languages, if you don't see anything in here, what you'll see is just preferred languages, and you can add all the languages you want. And here's the two I added, but it's gonna look like this when you come in. So when you go to translate, you unfortunately are going to see this. Just go to preferred languages, add a few languages, and those are the ones you can translate into. So I'm going to hit this plus down here at the bottom. This is Spanish. I can practice my Spanish, and then I'm going to, since it's, and I do not want to use Spanish as my primary language. No. I'd be lost. So we're going to use English still. And then finally, because it is Eckert's birthday, we're going to translate this stuff to German. And I'm still going to not use German as my main language. I'm going to use English. So now that's how we get things into this menu under View. So I translate this page to German. And now this works. This isn't just for a page like this. Let's say you went to we'll go to christianboyce.com again. So this is English, but even this top part of the page will change if I go to View and I say translate to German. So I'm going to check with Eckert here. Eckert, does this look like German to you?
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's astounding. Okay, that's you probably knew how to do that, but if you didn't, it's a birthday present. All right, so that concludes my presentation. I will take questions if there are some.
Okay, you do have a question. Someone asked, what is the program that you're using to show your keystrokes?
Okay, good. That program is called, if I can remember it, just a second here. I have to actually turn it back on. Let's see. Good question. I just downloaded it yesterday. It is called, oh, it's not Visualize, it's a different one. Just 1 second here. I'll use my little launch pad. I can see.
Christian, it's Keystroke Pro.
Thank you. That is what it is, Keystroke Pro. How did you know that?
I caught it on your screen.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
Pro it is. That's the one I'm using, and it seems to be pretty darn handy. There was another one I liked better, but it quit working in Big Sur, so I couldn't use it. So
all right. Okay.
Yeah, Keystroke Pro.
Thank you. Frank, you have a question.
Yeah, is there a way to, in the list of possible search engines, to add or subtract from that list?
Ooh, not that I know of. You possibly could change a preference file, manually, and maybe get one in there, but I don't know how.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry,
Question
Frank, I'm letting you down.
Right. No problem.
That's all right. With the blocker,
Yes.
Viper, sorry, will it block let's say if you're trying to do an autofill, will it block anything other that we might need?
Sometimes an ad blocker makes a mistake and thinks something that's popped up might be an ad. And so if you have trouble, then that's the time for you to turn that off. And of course you can do it here, right? Settings for this website. There's another place where you need to look in preferences. When you look at security here, privacy here, you can say, you certainly don't want to say block all cookies. If you do that, then almost nothing works. You can't block all cookies. You can block the cookies that are across sites, like when you look up something, you look for a pair of socks at on a department store website, and then you see sock ads for the rest of your life. That's what this checkbox is supposed to take care of, cross-site tracking. But sometimes you just have to let things pop up. Here in the website section, you can say, look, if we have content blockers, is it normally on? Yes, this is where you say, does it pop-up windows down here at the bottom? Can they normally pop up? I say here that's just saying block them and notify. That means it would let me know that a pop-up was blocked. So not everything works exactly the way you want. So if you've got a problem with a website, you got to look at your whether you ad blocked it or whether you had a pop-up that blocked it. So
all right, great.
Not
Thank
perfect.
you. Great. Thank you, Christian.
Okay.
All right. Margaret, Peggy, you have a quick question?
Yes, related to what we're talking about in a way. The reason I have Mac is I'm not very careful about things. And the other thing I'm not careful about is this thing called clearing cache. And every once in a while, I have real problems because I do use Safari. And then on certain places, they really don't like Safari. So, but I like how everything gets saved. So all of my passwords are saved and so forth. Is there a way when you can, whatever that's called, clear cache, clear history, clear whatever, where you can clear all the stuff you don't need, but not lose your passwords or having your websites saved, your bank saved and everything like that?
Sure, you can clear certain things. In here, you can clear the history of where you've been. Now, and if you do this, you can just say, clear where you've been today or, the last hour, things like that. But I think what you really mean is in here in the preferences. If you look at, let me see, I gotta find which one of these it is. Where is that option? It's not there, it's not there, it's not here. Oh, here, manage website data. So this was under privacy, manage website data. You'll see the places where you've been. Now you can remove, say, if I don't care about this one, I don't know, this must have been from an advertisement because I didn't go to this website today. We can just remove one. I don't have to do remove all. So that takes away that cache of data.
Oh, great.
Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Sometimes you have to clear the cache because you go to a website and it just won't work. Like it keeps trying to sign you in with the wrong name or something like that. And so this is when you would come in and remove that. So you don't have to do this often. You shouldn't have to do it very often. And you don't want to do remove all. That's going to take away all of the knowledge that your Mac has about where you've been and what you've done and what your preferences are for those sites. So don't do that.
All right. Thank you, Peggy. All right, Christian, thank
Yes.
you. It is time to end our presentation. George, would you like to take over?
Yes. Christian, thank you very much. This was a great, outstanding meeting, lots of good information. We really appreciate it.